Hey guys, I just wanted to reach out to you and let you know that Surewinder is still selling amazing products. Some of you guys have been dragging your feet for whatever reason. If your shoulder hurts, do not waste time. Pull the trigger. I just bought 4 or 5 of them, and we had 2 guys out. You know how much it cost me to pay for 2 guys being out with bad shoulders? We just pulled the trigger and we said, listen, everybody's going to have one on a truck. It's mandatory. You got to use it. Don't hesitate. Don't wait till your guys go down. It's going to cost you more. Buy a Surewinder.
All right, everybody. Today we're going to take a little bit of a serious approach. We're going to have a conversation about what to do, because I'm having a lot of conversations with business owners in general, but definitely a lot of business owners in the garage door industry who are hurting. New door sales are down. And people are asking me a lot of questions that I don't know the answers to, but I do have a lot of answers, probably just not the answer. But hopefully today we're going to spark some thoughts that will help you wrap your mind around what it's going to take to get you to the next level. And the reason why I'm having this podcast today, and I've got Tamara on with me. Say hey, Tam.
Hello.
She's going to ask questions because a lot of times, sometimes I don't expand on certain things, or I study economics a lot and information. So she can help with the conversation by asking some good questions and even giving some input, because she's also talking to business owners in the garage door industry every day. So what's going on? What's going on with the economy? Why are doors so slow? And I'd like to take us back to 2019. 2019 was a decent year, but it was the last year before we hit the big C. And that changed everything. It changed our seasons. Like, I don't know about you guys, but we used to be able to count on certain seasons, like March, April, May, June being just super hot for new doors. July being like a down month for us because everybody goes on vacation. August, September, October are historically great months for us for new doors. Summertime's great months for openers. Like, we have these seasons, right? Those seasons aren't nearly as predictable as they used to be. We encouraged on the show planning and trying to have a good game plan for 2023 and 2024, 2025. And I used to do annual projections back in the day, and I still do. But when COVID hit, we went to quarterly projections just because it was so unpredictable. And I feel like that was pretty healthy for us because we were like looking at things more closely. And then somebody recommended a book last week. You remember the name of the book, Tamara?
Yes, I downloaded it. Where's my?
I think it's the 12-week year or something like
Oh,
that.
yes, the 12-week year. Yeah. Tommy Cummings recommended it.
Yeah. Had glowing reviews. He was like, hey, group, I'm reading this book. It's been great for me. And it really is about focusing, and something that while reading it myself, it brought a few things up. The first thing is we have different levels of awakeness. I don't really know like a better way to explain it. What's a better way to say that?
What do you mean? I don't know what, like awakeness.
Like, you got different levels of like being present or clarity. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, like just the general understanding of things.
No, I mean like we become a robot because we're protecting ourselves from stuff. Like,
Oh,
like
yeah.
honestly, there's days where I don't want to hear any bad news.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Or, I end up like I'm building a house, so work's not getting my full attention. Um, and I'm stressed out about the house, so now I'm stressed out about work. And then, like it's easy for us to just like there's different levels of checking out too, right? Like there's present physically and not present mentally. There's present mentally but not present emotionally. There's times where we have empathy and times where we don't have empathy, and it creates this like inconsistent environment for our employees. And we also find ourselves like slipping. It's like you think about marriage, right? You
Mhm.
get married and you're all hot and heavy, and every day that passes that you're not nurturing that, like it fades.
Yeah.
And I look at business ownership a lot like that. It's, every day you're not investing in yourself or your team or your company. Um, I think it's fading. And it's easy to get so caught up in the weeds that you don't focus on those things.
Right.
And so today I want to wake you guys up with a couple things. One is you can do more. Like we can all do more. We can do more to create a better culture. We can do more to be available. We can do more in focusing on building our business instead of allowing it to control us. Like we can just do more, right? We can be more active when we're at work. We can be more focused and more productive. Um, we can be a better leader. We can do more. But here's what happens, right? Like I had my old employer once told me, he said, Ryan, because we were talking about an employee at the time. And I was like, I have some concerns that are not putting in the effort. And he said, Ryan, he goes, I've been a part of a lot of startups. He said, in small companies like ours, no one can hide.
Right.
And I thought that was interesting. And I was like, what do you mean? And he's like, I don't know. He's like, it only takes a few months to really find out if somebody's in or out.
Mhm.
And if they're not completely bought in, then they're out. And
Mhm.
he was telling me how when you're a small team and everybody's trying to pull their weight, if there's someone not pulling their weight, they're going to get exposed really easily because we're a smaller
Very
company.
quickly. Right.
If you're a bigger company, then you have people that can check out and hide, and it's not as big of a deal. And you really got to hone in on like your department leaders and making sure that they're holding everybody accountable.
Right.
But smaller companies, number one, you can't afford for people to check out, take a day off, or not follow through, all that stuff. In a bigger company, those things go missed and it's not a huge deal. In a smaller company, it is a big deal. So,
Mhm.
most of the garage door companies that listen to our podcast, I'd venture to say, are probably under, I don't know, 3 to 4 million, majority of them.
Sure.
I mean, I know we got some bigger dealers that listen to us because I know them,
Yeah.
but the smaller dealers make up the majority. And here's the thing, you can't pay your employees less because they take a day off, or you can't, as a matter of fact, you actually pay them the same, especially if it's like paid time off, whatever. You can't pay your employees less for not giving 80% effort. So, like, if an employee comes in and only gives 80% effort, we can't adjust their compensation to 80%. We have to pay them the 100%, right? So, that mindset of like coming in every day and like being great, doing everything with excellence is important as a business owner. Like, we have to do that. And then we also have to encourage our team members to do that. And it's
Mhm.
ultimately our responsibility as leaders and individuals to make that happen. Now, why am I saying all this? I'm saying all this because that is the foundation of everything that we do. Like, how awake are you right now? Are you just going through the motions because you're afraid? Are you going through the motions because your home life's going through trouble and you're just happy to make it through the day? Are you just like cruising because it's the easy path, and every time you try to push, it backfires on you? Like, this is the reason I'm having a conversation. And so I want to flip back to why things have slowed down. And I've got a couple ideas on how you can fix it. So here are some things that I think you guys should know. Number one, consumer credit card debt is at an all-time high. As a matter of fact, you can Google this. I'm looking at the NewYorkFed.org site. Says new non-housing debt is at $4.66 trillion. Just to kind of give you a frame of reference, 2020, Q1 2020, prior to COVID, was 4.2 trillion. That's a lot of trillions.
Yeah.
You know? And I don't think there's been a sharper incline since going back and looking at 2004 to like 2008, which is really weird because that trend happened prior to the collapse of the market. And then the credit card debt started falling and then gradually has been going up ever since. And then come about I feel like Q1 of 2021, like non-housing debt is just gone berserk, like at a really fast rate. 4.15 trillion Q1 of 2021. And we're currently, it looks like we're hitting a little bit of a peak, but we're at Q1 2023 was 4.66. 4.66 consumer debt. That's freaking nuts. That's a lot of credit cards out there, private loans, things like that.
Mm-hmm.
So what else? What else should you be looking at? The CPI. Does anybody know what CPI is? Well, we are looking at, let me look up the exact definition of CPI because I follow it. It's United States Chained Consumer Price Index. Let's see. These are like consumer goods. They basically take like the average price of certain things like milk and all these things, and they come up with like an inflation rate, right? Let's see, June 2023 inflation. Here we go. All right. So it declined to see, the way this works is there's inflation every month. The key is that you, like, ideally most countries want to be around 3%. Okay. We got up to like 9%. Now, because the Fed has been raising the interest rate to in a violent manner, which is, I'll get to that in a minute. We're down to 4% inflation. So now we inflated, but only by 4%. Now the Fed has said, hey, we're going to get down to 2. We want 2% inflation, which is about 1 to 2% lower than we were naturally going prior to COVID. Okay. So to get there, they got to raise the interest rate. So they've been raising really quickly. Matter of fact, let's see here. I think they are working on, I'm getting conflicting times. It's either 2 or 2:30 today. They're going to announce whether or not they are raising the interest rate, keeping it the same, or lowering it. Now, what happens is weeks prior to this, the markets adjust based on what they think is going to happen. So 3-4 weeks ago, people already made the decision if he's going to raise the rate, lower the rate, or keep it the same. And they make decisions based on that. All right. So everybody's banking on the fact they're not going to do anything with the interest rate. It's going to stay the same. Now, the way that works is if it stays the same, market stays the same sideways. We're just going to keep going the way that we are. If they raise the rate, you're going to see a lot of people panic a little bit because it was unexpected. Number one. Number two, it'll probably hurt the market. So that directly affects multiple things, including the stock market, crypto, a bunch of other different types of investments, gold, everything. If they lower the rate, what you'll probably see is a little bit of a rally in the market, because that means that they are in a position to that they see the bottom of this point in time where things are kind of bad, and they need to set the interest rate in a way that's going to entice buyers to take loans and make purchases, businesses to make loans so that they can pay for growth and things like that. So when the interest rates start coming back down, more people are willing to do those things. The trap that we're in right now is a little bit awkward and unique because we're actually getting people who have credit card debt and all these loans, and the interest rate went up a lot. So when they raise the interest rate, it lowers inflation. If they lower the interest rate, it raises inflation. They want to get to 2% so they can lower the interest rate and it not jump back up. 2% is lower than they normally go by a lot. So if they can get to 2%, which I don't even know is possible or not, it's going to require a lot of pain in the market. What are one of those pain signals? Unemployment. If you raise interest rates enough on businesses, which is happening, and consumers aren't spending enough, businesses suffer, they lay people off. That is a signal that we are headed in the right direction for inflation. It's been the signal, it's been a signal, one of the primary signals forever. The problem is that they've been raising interest rates super fast, and this time the unemployment rate has not been affected the way they had expected. People are taking out 2 or 3 jobs to survive, and that's showing in the numbers, right? So they're thinking there's not enough pain in the market, so they got to either keep it or they got to raise it. They can't lower it. We are starting to see some people getting laid off, especially in the tech sector, and that is affecting a lot of things right now. The positives to that is there's a lot of people out of work that are super talented that may consider the trades, and you might be able to snatch somebody. A lot of these people who work for Facebook's, Google, stuff like that, a lot of them are brilliant. Some of them are stupid. So don't just hire them because they work there, right? So let's look at Michigan does a really good study, I believe, of consumer sentiment. Sentiment is like how people feel the market's going. Right now, these are some actually really interesting numbers. I was just looking at them prior to the show. We took a huge hit in May across the board, like a really big one, more than I'm used to seeing. So I thought that was very interesting because April consumer index of consumer sentiment was 63.5%. May's was 59, 6.8% change, which is pretty big. Current economic conditions, April was 68% and May was 64 with a 4.8% drop. Index of consumer expectations. This is like how they feel things are headed. April was 60.5, so 60.5. We dropped 8.5 points to 55.4. That's the scary number, because let me tell you, consumer expectations dictate everything. If you guys study economics and you watch the market and you watch trends, everything's based on consumer expectations. Let's just take this for example. If consumers think the market's going to be bad, what do they do? What do you think they do, Tamara?
They don't spend.
They don't spend. If consumers think the market's going to be good, what do?
Spend.
They spend. It's very simple. And the people at the top know these things. All they're trying to do is collectively get all the consumers in America to not want to spend money. So these numbers are both good and bad. Now the question is this like okay, they've hooked us. Now they're dragging us behind the car. The question is, how long are they going to drag before they start lowering the interest rate, trying to bring back consumer expectations to a good number? And so I highly recommend you guys check this out. Keep an eye on it. I like to watch it because it kind of gives me some input on things, and how that relates to the garage door industry is simply, if consumers' expectations of the future are down 8%, which is a freaking ginormous number for a 1 month over a month. That's huge. They are probably not interested in buying a bunch of garage doors. So your philosophies need to change a little bit, right? You got finance options. You have service. Your door guys, if they go out there and aesthetically the door looks good, they need to be able to have a conversation about potentially replacing all the parts on the door, doing a complete overhaul, and keeping the panels sections. That is a conversation that you need to train your guys for, or girls. Shout out to the ladies in the industry. Sorry. I just kind of bucket all guys and girls together. Like when I think guys, like, hey, you guys and girls, right?
Goonies never say die.
Goonies are the best. So I'm tying all this in because I want you guys to know what I look at, because it does help you make decisions. And I'm seeing this pain in the market because I watch the numbers. I see, when people get scared, they go to gold. A lot of people went to gold over the last 24 months. Stock market in certain areas are really hurting, especially the tech world. Tech world gets crushed because they're on private equity money. They're on loans, and, the demands for those things and the returns are really high. Like, you take money from private equity firm, they want their profit. They want the return, or you're not an investment. You're a liability.
Right.
So anyway, I'm just bringing all this stuff to your attention, not to try to bring you down in any form or fashion. As a matter of fact, I know these numbers sound like they suck, but this is kind of what we've been waiting for. Like, as consumers, this is what needed to happen in order for the government to be like, well, wait a minute. Now we're starting to see the trends from consumers. Their consumer expectations are down. The economic conditions are down. The sentiment's down for current status. This is what we needed. So the question really is, how long do we have to hold on for?
Consistency in everything, including price, reliability, quality, not just quality, but great quality control. These are things that describe Somer USA. Somer's not some startup company, not one that you need to be worried about going out of business in the near future. Somer and their family of businesses are $200 million companies. They're in over 100 countries, and they have locations in 20 countries. This is a large organization who stands behind their product and works through integrity. And there's not another company out there willing to drop what they're doing and help you out like Somer. These guys are awesome. Not only have they been loyal to the Torsion Talk podcast, they've been loyal to the technicians and the owners of the companies who install their product. In my opinion, if you're not at least offering Somer as an additional option, you're cheating yourself. Listen, first-time dealers, I've got a special for you. If you buy 10 or more Somers, while supplies last, we will offer you free shipping. You have no more excuses. The prices are great. The product is amazing. Go check out Somer USA and order 10 for free shipping.
Because they can't lower the rate like 3 or 4% like they have raised it this year, all within a short amount of time, because then you're just going to create significant inflation and be right back where you're at. But remember what I told you, sentiment is everything. If these guys hint that they're lowering the interest rate, the market will rally immediately. Then when they announce it, it's either going to stay the same because that was the expectation. It's going to go down because they don't lower the rate anymore, or they raise it, or it's going to go up because they lower the interest rate again. So interest rates, because our country mostly lives on debt, we finance houses, we finance cars, we got credit cards, we got business loans, we got all this stuff. Now, if you don't have any of that, you're probably like, what the heck's everybody talking about, George? But that's the good news, right? Like, we're learning that if you want to live on loans, you do low interest, you invest it in places where you're going to get a good return on investment, and it's not doing you a whole lot of good sitting in a savings account unless you're not in a business account, because most business accounts are not yielding interest unless you lock it in. But I'm getting 4% right now on savings in my bank account, my personal bank account. 4% is not bad. So there's lots of things you can do with your money, but make sure that you're being smart with your investment. Cash is king right now. Matter of fact, the dollar's coming back, but you got to watch that carefully, because you've got China, you've got Russia, you've got the Saudis. Everybody's joining forces to replace the dollar as the world currency. They're actually introducing the Chinese currency as now the new world currency. And how they kind of dictate that is how they exchange, like, what currency do they exchange for oil? Whatever currency is exchanged for oil, and whatever oil set at per gallon, or what, not per gallon, but
Barrel.
per barrel. Look at the Texas girl knows her oil. Whatever the dollar amount is per barrel, that's how everybody recognizes, right? And then those barrels are purchased with cash. And because we cut off all of our internal oil consumption, like, we were self-sufficient 3 years ago, energy-wise, completely self-sufficient. And then Biden gets in and shuts it all down immediately. And then what ended up happening was people started raising prices on us, figured out we were bad negotiators. And then we got rid of our reserves of oil completely, only to lower the cost of oil because it was a political play. Like, the whole agenda with using our oil reserves was to get the prices down, because they were projected to go up to $6 or $7, and they knew that would be a black eye in the elections. And so what they did was they dumped all of the oil that they had in reserves, and that's for emergencies. Like, if one of these other countries really wanted to hurt us, all they had to do would be like, you know what, we're no longer selling you oil, or, as a matter of fact, double the price. What are we going to do? Okay, because that's the only thing we can do.
Right.
Again, not saying this to scare you. I'm just trying to educate you. And the importance is, number one, we got to know how to vote. Number two, you got to know what numbers to watch. You got to pay attention to the economy and know what things are happening. If you pay attention and you know what's happening, a lot of times you can predict how to make your moves. Now, I'm seeing multiple things right now. It's going to be really interesting to see June's numbers. I think June's numbers are going to be even further down on consumer sentiment. And the reason I'm saying that is because I'm feeling it myself as a business, where we're digging into savings on some stuff. We're having some cash flow tightness, right? And almost everybody I'm talking to, there's nobody like thriving. And if you are, hit me up. I'd love to hear how you're doing it. But most people are not doing great right now in the garage door industry, because door sales are down, and door sales generate the most amount of capital. Now, although service might be the higher net profit, you still have to hit your primary break even number using those sales of big ticket items like doors. And so when we look at all of these things, we're able to kind of put things in perspective. And Tamara asked me a good question before we came on the air. Tamara, what was the question?
How do you look at all this information and not get overwhelmed and like panic from it? Because like every time
Glad
we
you
talk
asked.
about it, it makes like I am so anxious right now just hearing about it. Yeah, I don't know how you do it.
So you have to take the emotion completely out of it. And I just dumped the most amount of money that I have into, I'm buying crypto right now, into crypto, because I think I've mentioned it before. It's like when the government's trying to ban it, the market's selling. Like right now, stocks are selling at a discount because people want cash. They're maxed out. So if they're hurting and they need cash, what are they doing? They're cashing out retirement. They're cashing out stocks. They're cashing out crypto. They're scared it's going to zero. You know, like all that fear, we call it FUD, fear, uncertainty, and doubt, creates a market for the wealthy. The wealthy are buying right now. Now, I'm not wealthy, and I definitely don't have any dollars to spare, but I'm doing everything in my power to act like the wealthy so that someday I will be. And right now, when everyone's scared to death, no one's buying, but the smart people are buying discounts right now, right? There's stock that's like 75, 80% down. I mean, the Tesla stock, let me pull up Tesla. Let's just look at Tesla real quick. Hang on one second. 253. And it's down. It's down. Earlier today, it was at 261. Do you remember what I told you? Well, I posted in GDU group. I told everyone, buy Tesla, y'all. Buy Tesla. It's anywhere between $1.60 and $1.90 is a freaking killer buy. Buy Tesla, buy Tesla, buy Tesla. And we have a little non-garage door channel. But now Tesla, it was not even been, I mean, shoot, dude, it was last time I posted that was like May, I think. It was at 180, 185. We hit 258 Tuesday, June 13th. We're at 253. We got a little bit of a decline right now. We probably hit a little bit of a ceiling. So because it's been up 52% in the past month. Why? Why would Tesla stock be $160 to $190? Tell me, please, someone tell me why that would be the case. Manipulation. You got the government going after them. You got they were struggling a little bit to sell some vehicles at the pace. They cut prices. They made a few adjustments, and they're about to release. Listen, transportation as we know it's going to change forever, and Tesla's leading the charge. You're talking about fully autonomous cabs. You're going to take the cab industry and take Uber and all those, add up all that money and give it to Tesla. Because no one's going to be able to get you to the airport cheaper because they don't need a person in the car. And the cars don't need maintenance except for tire replacement and battery charging. The problem with it all is that there's not enough power to power every household if we all had them, or every cab driver. And so that's what this whole infrastructure bill was about, with Biden trying to create this environment where he can put stations everywhere. But that's counter to like what all the people who invest in him probably want, because they want windmills, right?
Mhm.
but you can't stop technology like this that's going full-fledged ahead. I'm also looking at like cryptocurrency. We talk about cryptocurrency. A lot of people are like, oh, that's fake money. It's no good, whatever. Listen, gold was used for money. Rocks were used for money prior to gold, right? And now you got gold, and then we had the dollar, and they put the dollar on gold. So gold was the standard and kind of backed up the dollar. They broke the dollar and gold apart. Why didn't the dollar just go to zero at that point? Consumer expectations. We all agree that because it has a 1 on a piece of paper and it's green and it has that guy on it, we all agree that that's a dollar. That is the only reason that it has value. Period. Bitcoin has value because tons of people agree that it's worth this much. And let me tell you, crypto's manipulated as much, if not more, than the stock market. But all they're trying to do is get investors to sell out of fear so they can buy at a discount. That's it. So when you're in the garage door industry, what are you saying? You're like, okay, how do you deal with this? Watching this stressful. And I agree, it is. It can be, for sure. I've been watching it since 2017 is when I really got into this. Q4 of 2017. I've been watching the markets and the trends and the cycles ever since. And what I can tell you is that you almost have to detach emotionally from it. And it's very hard. Right now, the biggest challenge for me, like what stresses me out, is just the direction our country is going as a whole and how that impacts my family and my company or my companies and my employees, um, and consumers in general, right? So like that's what stresses me out. And all that's tied in together. So to answer your question, it does stress me out. Uh, and then it's like a matter of like how you deal with it internally. The good news is that we're almost all on the same playing field. Uh, with the exception of like what we came into this with, right? Which
Yeah.
is why you guys had like I've been teaching, I've taught probably on here multiple times. It's so important during the good seasons when things are booming and you're doing really well, do not spend that money. You're going to pay premium prices during that period of time. And you're most likely to spend it on fancy cars and watches and everything else. Watches are actually an asset nowadays. So maybe you do buy a watch. I don't know. But when the market goes down like it is now, this is a great buying opportunity. And if you have cash, you can buy. If you don't have cash, you can't buy. So all I'm saying right now is know your seasons, watch data, data. Dig into your own data, look for trends, find problems, fix them. Like, do not hide from this. This is not the time to sit back and play around. There's a few things I'm going to tell you you need to be like on your game about. Number one, you don't need to have any wasted marketing dollars, period. You need to zone in. You need to be like freaking laser tight. If you're doing a blanket approach, you better pull that sucker back and find out who your customers are, and you just bang on them until they pick up the phone and call you. Number two, you better hone in your sales process, because once you get those people in the door, you cannot afford to lose them at all, period. Like, you got to close everybody. The girl answering the phone's got to treat this like this is the last customer you're going to get. You need this customer to pay payroll. When you go out there, you need to treat that customer the exact same way. I'm telling you, your sales process needs to be buttoned up and finished. Your whole team needs to be on their game, from answering the phones to closing the deal to even installing. Lastly, you need to dig into your reports and you need to figure out everything that's you're paying for that is not directly related to driving traffic and business to your company. And then you need to look at all your trends. What service technicians or professionals are doing the best averages? Those people need to be filled up before your people who have low averages. You need to invest in your people. If you can get your guys from 350 to 450 in average on tickets, that's a huge impact if those guys are doing 3 to 5 jobs a day. Listen, this is about strategy. There's going to be companies that do not make it out of this. I'm telling you, I can see it. I'm going to tell you right now, if you do those 3 things, you will make it out and you'll win. And the people who make it out are going to be really strong, and it's going to be excellent because you're going to have a period of time. I'm really hoping that we get somebody with some common sense on negotiating trade and button up the United States and get us in a good, healthy place. And that's going to require someone with confidence that's a business person. I'm going to go ahead and let y'all know I'm voting Trump. I'm on the Trump train. You know why? Because he's not bought and paid for. It's never been more obvious that we got a bunch of people that don't know what the heck they're doing in the office. These guys are career politicians, never had a job in their life. They probably just got off the nipple from their mom, and now they're making decisions for the entire world. Forget that. I'm done with that. I want business people who are strategists, who know how to look at data, know how to negotiate contracts, all that stuff. That's all they're doing. That's what I want. And guess what? Trump does it. And so I don't care if you like Trump or not. He helped our economy. He had one of the best economies we've ever had in the world. And we had world peace. I mean, dude, he brought together Israel and freaking, what else do you want? He was doing everything right.
I know.
And people hated him because he tweeted nasty things.
I know. Like,
I don't care about the tweets. I don't even really like him all that much. But daggum, dude, he knows how to run a freaking business and a country.
Mhm.
And I'm on board with that. I don't care how nice he is. Makes no difference to me right now. I just want our country on the right path.
Word.
So, was that okay?
Yeah. I'm in 100% agreement.
Should we not post this?
No, we're entitled to our opinions just like everyone else.
Let's see here. Fed rate's about to get announced. Jerome Powell is pausing the rate.
So writing it out.
And listen, this is what he does. He teases. Jerome Powell explains the decision to pause rate hikes while also having an expectation of 2 more increases this year. He's been saying that. But listen, it's all here. It's expectations. Many expected Fed officials to pencil in 1 more rate move, lifting the anticipated policy rate to a range of 5.25% to 5.5%. It's all in our mind. If they tease us that they're going to raise the interest rate, what do? We automatically think that the rate's going to go up and we make adjustments now. That's what the market does. That's what businesses do. Businesses are watching this, and this is how they make their money. They play the market. So they're not raising rates because they feel the pain. They see the numbers, right? Because consumers are starting to be affected, and it's showing in all the numbers. So this is good. We're holding. I think this is, I don't remember how many times in a row we haven't raised the rate. I think it's twice. I think they held in May and held in June. So we'll see this time next month if they raise the rate. I think they're talking more Q4 for that. I think they're wanting to see the results of all the increases that they did, and we won't see that completely for like probably another 3 months, 2 or 3 months. There's a delayed reaction, which is a little scary because they went up super fast and we're already feeling the pain. So the worst could be 2 or 3 months away. And then if we see it hurting, they're going to ease it back in, lowering the interest rate like a little bit at a time. That's my prediction. So Are there any questions you think business owners are going to want to ask, Tamara? You look sick to your stomach. Are you okay?
I am sick to my stomach. Finances make me sick to my stomach. I just,
But you
because I
can't close your eyes and not pay attention to it.
I agree. And especially as from a business owner perspective, like I know that so many people out there are just like, what should I be doing? Like, how do I get through this? How do I not be one of those businesses that close their doors after all this? Cause it's hard. Like everyone is struggling. And that I'm, speaking both as a consumer myself and also sitting in on the group conversations that we have, like this is everyone's livelihood. And it's a scary time, and we just like, there's no cut and dry, do this and you're going to make it through it. So I think what you said was really helpful. And yeah, do you have anything else that you can think of? I mean, I know that we're always saying that GDU is a resource for all of our listeners if they want to join. Just sometimes having that group think to talk through issues that you're having is helpful. But yeah, it's rough. It's rough out there.
I mean, GDU is great. Like, yes, I do think GDU is great if you can afford it. I think that adding costs right now that don't give you a direct return is not wise. I know that sounds freaking horrible because it's mine and I should be promoting it. But if you're at max pain and you don't have the money to pay your bills, do not join GDU.
Yeah.
If you've got a cushion, you could really get your answers in there. So, so that's kind of what I'm based off of. Like, we would love to grow GDU more, bring on a bunch of people. But at the same time, I had a guy hire us for marketing, and, not too long after he started, he fell behind. I reached out to him. I'm like, bro, man, what's going on? And he starts telling me how like he chose to pay us over his mortgage. And I'm like, dude, do not freaking do that. Number one, I don't want to be in that position. Don't put me in that position. Number two, he was in bad shape before he came to us, and this was his Hail Mary. And he told me, this is a great compliment to my team, but he was like, dude, my doors would have already been shut had I not hired you.
Yeah.
Which is great. But now we're like in a position where he can't pay us, and we kind of got things on pause a little bit. Great dude. He did what he thought he had to do, I guess. But that is not like, I mean, calculated risk is where it's at right now, but you want to be careful with like trying to double this year, because I think your marketing dollars are going to be diminished. You're not going to get the same return on investment for your marketing right now. But I do believe like one of the best things you could do, like, remember I told you guys earlier, like now's the time to buy SEO, because when the market bounces back and you're ranking well, boom, you're good. Now, can you finance short-term pain for long-term gain? That's the question, right? You got to decide. You got to figure that out. Yeah. So that's the thing. If you can bite the bullet and do marketing, you can bite the bullet and do GDU or something like that. Like, I think that's great. If not, do not do it. As a matter of fact, just reach out to me. I'll try to answer any questions I can to help you out. Like, we got tons of resources. I don't want to cause someone to hurt more. So, while yes, you would love it, it's not worth mortgage. Don't want to lose your house.
Cool.
Any other questions you think that anybody would ask?
Can't think of any.
All right. Now that everyone's completely depressed, do not jump.
Don't jump.
Just kidding.
Yeah.
Listen, if you need anything, hit me up, and just to be straight up with you, like, I'm in Costa Rica when this drops, so I may not respond to you right away, but will soon. Second, thank you everyone who responded, and for the scholarships, we're going to be choosing those here in the next few days. Really excited about that. 2 people are going to get to attend GDU Summit 23. Awesome. Yeah, on a scholarship. if you're a business that wants to sponsor someone, hit me up. Let me know if you have someone specific you want to sponsor, or if you just want to donate the money and bring somebody in, you can do that too. So we got plenty of people. We had 28, 29 people.
A lot. Yeah.
Submit for it. So we're going to be talking about growth, sales. Am I losing my? We're going to be talking about growth, sales, and marketing in GDU Summit 23. So it's a perfect time.
Yeah.
Perfect time. All right. Thank you guys for following along. Like us on social media. Make sure you subscribe to the podcast on YouTube and whatever podcast platform you listen to. You'll get notified if you hit the bell on YouTube and subscribe to your podcast. We're on iTunes, YouTube, Google Podcasts, Spotify, all the major platforms. And if you need something, please don't hesitate to reach out. If I can't help you, I should be able to point you in the right direction. Wish you guys well, stay strong, and you're going to make it because you're listening to my podcast. Just kidding. Holla.